Our first guest I will introduce is Van Jones, who probably needs no introduction. So Van, come out here on the stage and join us.
How are you, buddy?
Thank you.
Good to see you. Oh, man.
How you doing?
Y'all feel good. Hey, Lynn Twist. How are you? Awesome.
Good to have you here.
It's a good vibe, man.
Yeah, all right. So it's wonderful to have you as our first speaker. You know, a lot of people know you when they think of Van Jones. They think of CNN, politics. They think of green jobs. They think of prison reform. They think of a lot of really important things. They don't necessarily think of AI. And I, from knowing you and knowing your team, know that this is a really, really important area for you, like very important. So I'm curious, like, why have you, I'm sure you're tending to those other areas, but like, why are you so shifting your focus to AI right now in your life?
I have an 18-month-old baby girl. Yeah. So everybody wants to be a good parent. Everybody wants to do well by their children. I'm raising her, I'm going to be raising her in a different human civilization than what I was born into. In 5 years, 6 years, when she has her first crush, it's not going to be a pop star or a rock star or a dashing cartoon character. It's probably going to be an AI. It's probably going to be an AI. 30 years from now, you know, God willing, if she wants to have kids, given where biotech is going, she might open up a laptop or a holographic interface and design my grandchildren. That's not the civilization I grew up in. 80, 90, 100 years from now, God forbid, when she's buried, she might be buried on Mars. We might be a fully space-faring civilization by that point. So how are we supposed to be good parents, good grandparents? We're not just starting companies and having families. We're the co-founders of a new human civilization. That's what's happening. And you don't get to take a pass on that. And so for me, Jeff Bezos was kind enough to award me the first Courage and Civility Award, $100 million. We're dedicating the bulk of that to figuring out how to get, to leverage exponential technology to help the communities that have been overlooked and underestimated for too long. The communities that didn't do well in the last round, the last 300 or 400 years of human civilization. We get to, in some ways, we're starting over. And I want to be a part of that.
Great. And I'm curious, you had quoted, we were talking before, and you had quoted Dr. King, and I'm curious, what do you feel like his lessons, if he was living today, like what would he be like guiding us to, and what are the lessons we can take from him that might help us in this time?
Well, I think he'd probably be appalled, but you didn't listen. But I think there are two parts of Dr. King's message, and you were referencing this at the beginning. Dr. King wanted us to have equal protection from bad stuff. And so, obviously, we don't want algorithmic bias. We don't want racist robots. We don't want all the jobs taken away. So there's a lot of equal protection from bad stuff that needs to happen. And that is a big part of the conversation about AI right now. But I'm concerned that the other half of Dr. King's message is getting lost. He wants to have equal protection from bad stuff. He also wants to have equal access, equal opportunity to good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff coming down the pipe, possibly. You mentioned every poor kid could have a tutor in their back pocket better than MIT for free. That's possible. Black maternal health is horrible. Maybe we could use AI to figure out a way to save black moms from dying when they're having babies. We don't know what's possible. Here's what I know for sure. Without intention, without a vision, without a dream about how it could turn out well, it won't. And so I want to make sure, I feel like there's this conversation going on at the elite level. I call it the Jetsons versus the Terminator. And I'm watching this thing. It's like a tennis match between the people who are like, this is great. This is amazing. Everybody's going to have a really happy robot to do all their work. What could possibly go wrong? You know, so that's like the Jetsons side of the conversation, the techno-optimists, and then you got the Terminators. We're all going to die, right? That's it. There's no other conversation. And I'm like, geez, are these the two answers? Like, this is not very encouraging. And I think there's a third imagination that's available. Yeah. There's a third way out. What if we had Wakanda? Mm-hmm. What if we had Wakanda? What if, for you guys who are not big Marvel fans, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe of superheroes and superheroes, the most technologically advanced country is called Wakanda, and it's in Africa. And they have something called vibranium, and they have the best technology in the world, and they use it for good. What if we had Wakanda? What if we made Wakanda real? What if all these poor black and brown communities and Appalachian communities, what if we prioritized them and deployed technology there and made those communities bloom and blossom? What if we made Wakanda real? You have to have a dream. You have to have a dream. You know, vibranium is real. Vibranium is called cobalt, lithium. It's in Africa. Everything that you need to make this clean energy revolution work and AI work and all sort of stuff, that's not just bits and bytes and pixels and electrons. That's atoms and molecules in a place called Africa. And so there's something here, there's a partnership that's available for a future that works for more people. But you have to have a dream.
Got it. Beautiful. Thank you. There's a phrase you have that says partnerships, not pity.
Yes.
And I want you to be able to speak to that. And I also want you to speak to the fact that I know you and your team have been talking to a lot of AI people, activists, the people creating the engines. So I'd love you to talk about the difference between partnership and pity. I'd also love to talk to you about what are you seeing? Like, is the vision starting to emerge?
Sure.
Or what is the problem is there a problem that we have to surmount to get to that vision?
There may be a problem. There may be a couple of
billions
problems.
and billions of dollars going into this.
Exactly.
So
there may be a couple
things.
of problems. We'll get to that. But I do want to level set. Partnership, not pity.
Yeah.
Partnership, not pity. We got to do a reset, guys. I appreciate all of the work of this past 5-10 years, moving racial justice to the forefront, moving gender justice to the forefront, moving all these things to the forefront. And many people in this room were there marching in a pandemic during Black Lives Matter. You know, stood up for all of these different causes, and my heart breaks. For everything that has a light, there's also a shadow. And we've gotten off course here. This should be fun. This should be fun. This should be joyous. This should just be a celebration of humanity finding itself again. And that's not what it's become. It's become a drag, man. It's become this pity party where people who look like me say, you suck, you're a racist and a bigot and a terrible person, either consciously or subconsciously, and even when you try hard, you still suck, and by the way, you suck. which sucks. You don't have to be a bigot to think that conversation is unfriendly and suboptimal.
Yeah.
And what I want to say is that whole thing, well-intentioned, the reason it doesn't work is just because it's based on two lies. That's all.
Yeah.
It's based on a lie that, say, in this context, the white guys who are building all the technology, that they have everything. That they have everything. They're privileged, they're white, they're male, they're rich, they've got everything. And then people from my communities, we have nothing. We represent deficit. We represent lack. We represent pain. And so, based on that, let's have a fun party. It turns out most people don't want to come. Because neither of those statements are true. Yeah. I've met the people who are running these AI companies. Look, I'm 55. I'm not 35. These are some scared kids.
Yeah.
These are some scared kids. These are 25, 35, 45-year-old people. Many of them didn't have great childhoods. Many of them felt like they didn't belong anywhere. Many of them, if they're working on large language models, that was the disfavored path for a long time. So they were marginal in marginal communities for a long time. And now they've got Harry Potter's wand.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do with it either.
Yeah.
It's a lie that they have everything and don't need anything. They need a lot. And frankly, their companies need a lot. They got to deal with government regulation. They got to deal with cultural adoption. They got to deal with ethical issues. The idea that these people are these gods who don't need anything is the definition of white supremacy. They're not supreme. These are scared kids that need help. And by the way, the idea that my community is a deficit, look, we're not financially very strong, but we're rich. We're rich. Like, the black community? The black community? In these United States? AI companies are worried about government regulation.
Which came out, there was a White House announcement today.
Big executive order from the White House today, and more to come. Well, turns out the black community, when it comes to politics, we're 12% of the country. We have a black vice president.
Yeah.
We have 2 black senators. One's running for president. We have a black governor of Maryland right next door to D.C. Hakeem Jeffries is running the entire Democratic caucus in the House. The top 10 cities in America, 7 have black mayors. Houston has a black mayor. Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco. We got political power.
Yeah.
We're not poor. Culturally. Black people are the Supreme Court globally for culture.
Yeah.
If black people say it's cool in South Korea. It's cool in South Korea. We say it's cool. You may have heard of Jay-Z, LeBron, Oprah. We're not poor. We are the cultural superpower on planet Earth. And by the way, where did hip hop come from? 2 turntables and a microphone. Technology. Technology in the hands of broke kids in the Bronx.
Yeah.
2 turntables, a microphone, and a jack into a street light. And 50 years later, it is the biggest force in culture on planet Earth. We're not poor.
Yeah.
And then spiritually, you may have heard of the black church. You may have heard of Dr. King. You got ethical questions, questions around values. You know, we're not poor. And so let's partner We have needs, you have needs. You have assets, we have assets. But what we most importantly have, we got kids, man. We got grandkids, man. Let's partner and make something fantastic for them. That's what's available. That's what's possible. And we have to turn the page on the pity model and get to the partnership model.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So how do you hold all this responsibility? You have the money from Bezos, that's a responsibility. You have popularity, people listen to you. You can call people together and they will show up. You can go on TV and you're in a very unique position, I would say. And you have this responsibility, you have this capital, you have this vision. What do you need? What do you feel is, how do we help you move something forward that feels like the world that Dr. King would approve of?
I have 2 therapists.
There's more here if there's anybody you need more of.
So that helps. I pray a lot.
Yeah.
I've got a good team. Khalil,
Great team, yeah.
Yeah. Khalil, are you in here? Where's Khalil? And Stephen, are they here? Or they might be in the...
Okay.
Oh,
They're there.
okay, so Kalia and Stephen are on the Dream Machine team. We call ourselves dreammachine.org, and they're here. But I just want to say something, and this is very important. I'm noticing a lot of people at what you would call the elite level are starting to freak out. Is that a fair term?
Yeah.
They're like scared. Like the future is scary. Like all this bad stuff might happen. And it's like, I'm like, you don't think? Oh, do tell. I come out of a community that's had to learn how to live on the edge of catastrophe and extinction for 400 years. So we have resources for this. We have resources for this. You can take all of black theology, from Howard Thurman, James Cone, all of them. Throw in Dr. King, he's the most famous one. And you can reduce it down to 2 words. Hallelujah. Anyhow. Hallelujah. Anyhow. No matter what you do to us, you're not going to steal our joy. You're not going to tell us that we're not children of a high God. The Klan can be outside that church door with the hoods on and the crosses burning, and we're still singing. We're still, hallelujah anyhow. There's something in us that can't be touched. It was never born. It's not going to die. We are the children of the universe, and we deserve to be here. We are worthy. When you need to make a new human civilization, you need resources. Go to the people who've had to be resourceful and learn there. The wisdom is at the margin. Data is at the center now, but the wisdom's at the margin, okay? The computation is at the center, but the contemplation is at the margin. So the resources that we need are in those communities that have been overlooked, left out. Indigenous people, black folks, so brown folks, folks in Appalachia, folks in the global south. This isn't some pity thing. We need these resources, these wisdom resources. People who don't have a lot of resources become resourceful. And the spiritual technology in the black community to survive all this BS and still give you in exchange a Barack and Michelle Obama, still give you in exchange a Jay-Z and a Beyonce, still give you in exchange a Dr. Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King, still give you in exchange a Bayard Rustin. No pressure, no diamonds. Yeah. No pressure, no diamonds.
No mud, no lotus, they say too. But yeah.
What?
No mud, no lotus.
No mud, no lotus. Yeah, same idea. So where are you going to find the diamonds that we need now? Right? So that's the great opportunity. And I benefit from being a part of that.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. We just have a few minutes left. I'm still touched by what you said about your daughter. I know you had a couple children, and then you love children so much, you decided to have some more children.
Yes.
And I'm just touched by what you said about having that beautiful young birth and that innocence and how to tend to that. And I'm just curious if you wanted to say anything more about your responsibilities. It's to her, right? Not only to her, but all the young babies that are kind of getting produced right now and are emerging into this world, and how we can best tend to the world that they're going to grow up in. And I know that hits your heart very deeply because you witness it all the time with your young one. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious if you have any other thoughts about how we can nurture the seed of wisdom, compassion, wellness. Right. Yeah.
A couple things. One is, I think identity matters a lot. And I think we've seen the perversion of identity politics on the left and the right. Yeah. But identity matters a lot. Who you are matters a lot. Who you're becoming, who you want to be. And I think that I wasn't joking when I said seeing ourselves as co-founders of a new human civilization. Co-founders, not just co-founders of your company, co-founders of a new human civilization that could be more at peace with itself and the earth. That's the high dream. And seeing ourselves as in some ways, stewards of a future that has the children of all species for 7 generations taken into account, Lynn Twist. The children of all species for 7 generations taken into account. That's the right way. That's the right way. And what I will say is I understand why people are scared. I understand why people are scared. It's not just the folks at the elite level. The number one enemy for just the average folks in the communities I care about, it ain't Donald Trump and it ain't Joe Biden. It's the check engine light. It's the check engine light. Because when that thing comes on, these cars, you buy a car the past 5 years, you can't take them to your cousin and get them fixed. These are laptops on wheels. That check engine light comes on and you're screwed. And you don't have the money. And you're not going to get to work. You're going to lose your house. People are really suffering. The people who most need disruption of that kind of poverty, the people who need the prisons disrupted, the people who need poverty disrupted, the people who need pollution disrupted are those people. They have the purpose, but they don't have the power on their own. You've got the AI people, they want to disrupt everything. They've got the power. But they haven't keyed in on the purpose. See? So if you take the people with the power to disrupt, but these are kids, they're scared, they don't know anything. I'm not trying to be rude or ageist. I'm saying nobody told them they were going to build a new civilization. They were trying to get a PhD thesis done. Okay? But now they've got the power. And we've got the purpose. Well, hold on a second. You put those two things together, miracles will happen. They will happen. Okay? I understand you're scared. I do. But there is not enough darkness in the entire universe to drown out the light from one candle. One candle. So no matter how dark it gets, you can be the light. And you can find other people who are being the light. And then we'll find our way. That's what's going to happen. And I'm proud to be here. So thank you.
All right.
My man.
Thank you so much.
Love you, brother.
Really appreciate it. Love you too.